such a huge, inhospitable universe be said to be fine-tuned for life? Many skeptics claim that because the universe is so vast and uninhabitable for life, that it therefore makes no sense to claim that it's finely tuned for life. As an example, consider what Holy Koolaid says in his online video. Most of the universe is a dangerous vacuum that's either scorching hot or ice cold. With no air to breathe, we would die in seconds. But let's re-examine our fine-tuning claim, which is very close to that of Luke Barnes. In the set of possible physical laws, parameters, and initial conditions, the subset that permit life is very small. Note that this claim has nothing whatsoever to do with the fraction of life-permitting space. And in fact, Barnes and Lewis interact with this exact objection or response to fine-tuning in their Fortunate Universe book, saying that it completely misses the point. We want to know why this universe has the fundamental properties that it has. We thus compare our universe with other possible universes, not just with different locations in this universe. They go on to point out that if you put breathable air in space, that it's fatal to life. The universe at this density would collapse in about a day, and the Earth, in fact, couldn't maintain its orbit around the sun for even 1 year before it would fall into the sun due to the effects of the drag. And the other thing that's interesting to note is that if you can understand why the vacuum of space can't support life, then you can understand why fine-tuning is required. For without it, the whole universe could easily be like the vacuum of space, or actually even worse if you think about the cosmological constant. Likewise, the universe needs to be huge to last a long time. Small universes tend to be very short-lived. So I think the most charitable interpretation for this critique of the fine-tuning is to take it not as any kind of refutation of the fine-tuning of physics claim, but rather as an argument against a theistic explanation of fine-tuning, on the grounds that if God wanted life, he would have made far more of the universe inhabitable to life, and there would be no reason to put us in such a huge universe. But I think one should proceed with caution concerning specific divine expectations, especially for those who don't believe in gods. Think about if you were evaluating candidate evidence for extraterrestrials, would you reject it solely because it didn't fit your preconceptions about such intelligence? You'd want to be open-minded about it, especially if you didn't even think there were extra-intelligent life forms out there. You'd want to follow the evidence where it leads, even if it went against your original expectations. So let's think about how bad is our current situation really? If God is behind the fine-tuning, would he have wronged us? Is it really that bad that we cannot live everywhere in the universe? Does any one person really ever have time to travel all the amazing places within this world that we can visit? Have any of us fully explored the huge Amazon rainforests, Great Barrier Reef? Or have you visited all the world's national parks or seen the vast forests and mountain ranges around the globe, or the tropical paradises in the South Pacific and the Caribbean? I like using in our introductions to these videos small clips showing the amazing wonders that we find in nature. Could God also not have reasons for making such a vast universe? What if he wanted to reveal that his creative power or his ability to sustain things in the universe is just far greater than what we have as humans, and perhaps he wanted to humble us? A huge universe, and one in which we couldn't easily inhabit, I think is humbling to humans. Think about even how politicians, those with the most power among humans, tend to be at times the most arrogant. And I think that it can instill humility when we sense our lack of power as compared to the vastness of the universe. Also, is it really that bad that we would need a spacesuit to live outside of our atmosphere? Think about how much trouble we have to go to get beyond our atmosphere. Is that really such a bad thing? But I think for some skeptics, they do sincerely struggle with the question of, well, why wouldn't there be more intelligent life if God set up the universe for life? And for some, they seem to also build into the expectations that it should be all about humans, whereas I think based on the Bible or different theistic traditions, you wouldn't necessarily always think that God would have to put humans first. Actually, that's not something that's part of traditional Christian theology. So think about it in these terms, perhaps. How many intelligent beings should God have made? Okay, it may be very difficult to come up with a number, but if somehow you knew that this would be the most righteous way that God could have made the universe, the fairest way is to create X number of intelligent beings, well, then I would want to ask you, well, how do you know that there isn't at least that number of intelligent beings in the universe? After all, there are at least 100 billion galaxies in the universe, each of which has at least, on average, 100 billion stars. And if cosmic inflation is correct, this popular theory, then the numbers could actually be far, far greater than that. There's no reason to think that God would be expected, though, to necessarily reveal to us what's happening in these distant regions. Arguably, I think there's wisdom in separating us from other intelligent life, since we can't seem to get past our own problem with wars and racial discrimination, even within our own species. How much worse might we treat those from another area, maybe that looked far different than us? Or suppose also that the universe were tinier, as some skeptics seem to be advocating in a sense, and complaining that we live in a vast universe. Would that really make it better for us? The large universe complaint seems to prefer a night sky without our astronomical wonders to gaze at and learn from. For many humans, it's a great thing that we can look up and see these powerful fireworks in the sky, these amazing things. And for many humans historically, these have been things which point to some transcendence, something greater than just what we find on Earth. For some, this has been taken as evidence of the divine. So I think there's many reasons, maybe not all of these are right, these are speculative, but to think that you know for sure God couldn't have a reason for making a vast universe or one in which humans couldn't live in all parts, I think the burden of proof is on that person to show that there would not be any possible world in which God would have reasons for that.